Check 1, 2. The mic's scratching at my coat. Check 1, 2. Hope it doesn't do that too much. Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Study Group. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Study Group. And today, according to the lesson plan, compositional breakdowns. I know what you're thinking. Anyway, it's Miguel Coronado III talking to you. You can find my work www.mciii.net or facebook.com/iiimciii, or you can go to Crimson Dagger's forum and look up my username, Mike086, or you can also look me up on conceptart.org, Mike086, Instagram, Mike086, CG Hub, MCIII. It's one combination of either MCIII or Mike086. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do compositional breakdowns today. Let's get started. Oops. Let me Photoshop respond. Here you go. Let me get started now. I'm going to open up a whole new document just for this. I'm going to turn down that brush size. Let's find some compositions to break down. Okay. I think all the videos are uploaded to YouTube. Let me take a gander for you. If it ever loads, it'll be nice. There we go. You can find my channel, youtube.com/Mike086. Yeah, so I think I'm up to date on the uploads. And that means we're on, today would be day 33. Day 33 today. Because that was from yesterday. Yeah. So, keep that in mind. I don't know what I gotta keep in mind, but just we're on day 33. We're past a month. We've been past a month for a few days now. We've been working for at least 33 hours, right? Which means if you've been following along with these study groups, you've completed an entire full-time week of studying. If you just woke up every day at 8 o'clock and studied until 5 p.m., you've completed a full week of study by 1-hour sessions. Now some of these sessions went into 2 hours. So, you know, I think there's enough of these 2-hour sessions that we actually verging on like 50 hours, I think. Lots of them go over. But anyway, congratulations if you're following along on reaching day 33, because all this stuff adds up, and you've done a good job. Good job. Congratulations. Let's get to work. So I'm gonna go to cinemasquid.com, but kind of want to do this a little differently today. Normally we go to cinemasquid.com, look up some movie stills, we break down those compositions. Today I would like to try and go to I should have, here we go. There's a website called Wiki Paintings. WikiPaintings.org. Let's go to the home page. If you go to wikipaintings.org, you'll come to this page. Okay? And let's find some classical painters to work from. And here's Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec. And we all know his work from the Moulin Rouge poster work he's done, along with the paintings he's done in the past. We got lots of his work on here. Anyway, this website's great because you can find the artist, and he's got his artwork broken up by style, by genre, and by technique. So if you want to see what he did in oil, you can go to the oil and look at what he did in oil. If you want to see how he did pencil work, you can look at the pencil work. If you want to see pastel, look up his pastel work. His ink work. So again, this is wikipaintings.org. And he's got featured artworks. You can click on the featured artworks. Okay, so I should be able to copy this. Maybe not. So that might be an issue. It's going to slow us down quite a bit. Looks like I can't copy the image. Oh, if we go to artwork page, I should be able to copy it. Okay, yeah, so you gotta go to artwork page. Paste this. I'm gonna go ahead and select a few paintings now. We'll do a breakdown. We're gonna do this a little differently. We'll do like, select a bunch of paintings, break down the compositions, and all at once. So I'm going to do different paintings by different artists, just because this is a completely different way of doing these compositional breakdowns. So some of the stuff, like if you pick a more modern artist, it's actually like all composition. Let's see, artists by nationality. Let's look up some American painters and some Czech. Let's go ahead and throw in a Dutch painter, a Finnish, we'll see what Iraq has, and Japanese. There's Russia. I want Russia. There we go. And Russia. That's for today. That'll be kind of where we go. Okay. So you're probably, if you're like me, an illustrator, try and pick a painter because it's going to be a lot easier. Excuse me. Pick a painter because it's going to be a lot easier to break down the composition of a painting rather than a sculpture. So try not to pick a sculpture, and try not to pick a video artist unless you can find one still frame of the video. Thomas Pollock Enschitz. Let's see here. The Iron Workers at Noontime. Perfect. We got to go to the art page, remember. So we're going to figure out how to go to the art page. Here we go. Click up here at the artwork page. Once you go to the artwork page, you don't need to keep it large. We can keep it small. You don't need a high-res file for this kind of stuff because we're just going to break down the shapes. So don't worry about whether or not it's high-res enough. Okay. Let's go back. Oh, where is it? Here you go. I need more by him. Here's a portrait. Let's do a portrait. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Okay. Let's copy this one. That's almost the same composition as this one over here. Interesting. If someone joins the chat, I'll kind of have to repeat everything I say again. But, it's okay. I think Riley might join in. Because, he gets up in the morning. Because he cares. No, where is it? Here we go. 2 viewers. Anyway, if you're just joining me, I'll explain what I'm doing. We're doing the compositional breakdowns. The, compositional breakdowns. And instead of using movie stills, we're going to this site called wikipaintings.org. So if you click on wikipaintings.org, it'll take you to this page. Every time you load it, it's different. It's a different featured artwork, okay? So it might look different compared, depending on when you're loading it. What we want to do is go to wikipaintings.org, and you can click on artists. I just went by nationality. You don't need to do exactly what I do, but I clicked on several countries I wanted to work with today. So it says America, Czech, Dutch, Finnish, Iraq, Japanese, and then we're going to look for paintings from these different artists, and we're going to do the comp breakdowns, but we're going to do them from classic paintings. Hey, there's water in the kettle. We just want to turn it on. We're going to take these paintings, we're going to do the comp breakdowns. We're doing this a little backwards too. We're going to go ahead and look up a bunch of paintings, and then we're going to do all the comp breakdowns at the same time. So I'm just gathering a bunch so I can come back here and do the breakdowns for. Just be sure that when you select your artist that they're actually a painter or an illustrator. Otherwise you're going to have a hard time figuring out the compositional breakdown for a sculpture in 3 dimensions. Check. Check nationality. Here's Alphonse Mucha. We'll go ahead and do some of his. And then this guy, I don't know who he is. František Cooper. Okay. So so then once you get to the artwork page, once you get to the artist page, you get to see his artwork by style. So we can see his impressionism, his symbolism, his expressionism, his orphism, constructivism, the Art Nouveau, and you click on the picture you like, go up here, it says artwork page, click on artwork page, it's going to take you to this new page. You can copy the picture from here, and that's how you copy and paste it, because the slideshow doesn't allow you to copy and paste. It's interesting. Let's do this one. Okay. So as soon as we gather all these images up, we're going to do the comp breakdowns. I'm just going to kind of keep going. If I don't finish all of them today, it's alright, because I'll do them on the next day we have comp breakdowns. Oops. Okay. And let's see, this one looks interesting, the Victorious Dragon. There's like a print. Literary painting. Okay. Let's go on to another artist. Alphonse Mucha. See his featured artwork. We all know his style. It's that Art Nouveau. Graphic illustrations. We can see he's got a different style that most people don't associate with him. It's romanticism. This is one of his pieces. Gotta do this. Looks amazing. Copy. Let's go over here. Paste. In this case, I guess it doesn't matter. I'll think about that later. What else does he have here? Biscuits. Champagne. Advertisement. Awesome. Okay. Easter chimes, awakening nature. Oh, I like this. Use this one. Remember, you don't need the images to be high res because, you know, we're not doing master copies. We're doing composition breakdowns. Okay. I like that a lot too. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Let's go to another artist. The Dutch. Let's go to the Dutch artists. Sir Lawrence Alma Tadema. Look at this. Here we go. It's amazing. Let's click here. Let's do this one. Okay. If you're just joining me, I'm gathering images to do composition breakdowns with. Let's see here. This looks pretty cool. Let's do that one. We'll move on to the next artist after this. This is just for now too. We'll come back another day and do this again. I feel like these are a whole different animal from those movie stills. The entire story is told within the one image. See, it's a difference. Close this. Go to another artist. Finnish artists, Finnish painters. Leopold Servage. Cubism? Oh, he was a cubist. And Orphism. Those are like all. These are pretty much composition breakdowns in themselves. I'll skip over him. Sorry. Sorry, people. Yeah, here we go. Some good stuff. More painterly. Representational. I want the more representational stuff. You don't have to. You could choose, if you want to choose a cubist, you can choose a cubist. It's just the kind of the fundamental idea of like the cubists, and just, you know, the majority of the work is based on the composition alone, which I guess is a great thing to study, but you know, I want to kind of find the composition within the representational. Rustic life. This looks really cool. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll just be the last one from this guy, and then we'll go on to another artist. I probably should widen this document instead of continually make it longer. Okay. Did I paste that image? Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's close this. Come back to these guys another day. Iraqi. Looks like the Iraqi artists are going to be more modern. Abstract expressionism. Nothing's hot. I put water in the kettle if you want to just turn it on. But the boiling water is turned on that machine too if you just want to get instant water. It's up to you. Abstract expressionism. Let's go ahead and do this one too. I like abstract expressionist pieces, which most artists, a lot of guys really hate on this kind of stuff. But lots of the times you don't realize these things are huge. Like these paintings are like, they take up an entire wall. They're very impressive. And it's all about color relationships and shape. So, you can hate on it if you want, but oh wait, this one's even better. Here we go. Yeah, this one. You can hate on it if you want, but it's I think it's cool. So, whatever. Yeah, see this? You okay? Talking to my girlfriend, she's woke up. I'm almost gonna run out of time. Let me go ahead and get on this. Japanese. Hokusai. We all know Hokusai. Hokusai manga. Okay. 6 views of Mount Fuji. So these will be what we start with. We're not going to finish this today. I don't think we can. Because I haven't even started yet. Russian painters. this guy with a big beard. Alexei Bogolyubov. I don't know how to say his name. Oh wow, yeah. Gotta do this guy. The shipwreck. I like Russian painters a lot. These like classic Russian painters. In fact, download that image and use it as my background. Okay. Close that. See what else there is. This looks nice. These are great. These landscapes are, these like cityscapes and landscapes are great. The portrait, just gotta do the portrait breakdown. I have a different way I'm gonna do the portrait breakdowns. They'll be different from the regular breakdowns. Let's move on to another artist. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. That's enough for today. Let me close this out. This website was wikipaintings.org. Hello, Sata. Okay, so here's the next step now. Gotta merge all these layers together, except for the background layer. And I'm just gonna move over these images so I have space to work with. And I'm gonna go ahead and move these images up. Gotta organize this stuff a bit. And same thing with these. Just gonna move these up and over. Oh, I guess I deleted this. Okay. Well, I don't want to delete those. Oops. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Okay. Sorry about this, folks. Just trying to get this document shaped up. Okay. There we go. And one more time, let's deselect C. Okay, there we go. So now we can work from here to do the breakdowns. Let me take a quick pause. I'm just going to turn off my mic real quick. Hello? Okay, sorry, I'm back. So what I'm going to do, let me redo what I just did, because we've got all these pictures in one layer. So I want to kind of get the frames, I want to get the correct boxes to work within. So I'm just going to click the wand tool outside of the pictures. You can see that it's going to select the frame that the picture is in. I click a new layer, and I click the mask tool. I've got pre-done little frames to work within. And I'm just going to set this to a gray color, like it somewhere around like 30% gray or something. 40% gray, that's good. I'm going to just do the paint bucket tool. Oops, wrong layer. Do the paint bucket tool in the layer, not in the mask. And then you probably need to invert the mask. You do a Command I to invert. I don't know what it is for PC. I don't have one. But we're just gonna take all these little boxes. You can't see the boxes, right? It looks like I just erased everything. That's because the boxes are filled in. And move it over to the side. And I'm going to turn the background to black because I'd rather work with a really dark gray, not black. But maybe like a really dark gray background. Okay, so now you see the frames. Alright. So you got the frames. I don't know what these little lines are. I guess there was a line on this one document, this one page, whatever. Okay, so now you got the frames to work within. So on the same layer, I'm going to just kind of work all on that one layer within the frame. Let's go ahead and zoom into 100%. Yes, please. And we're going to go one by one and break down the compositions using, I think this time we use 3 to 4 colors. Let's go ahead and set up a little palette for our colors. Okay, so here's a little square. This square will be black. I'm going to start a new layer. Okay, that's black. I'm going to go ahead and copy, paste, hold V, shift, not hold V, but press V, hold shift. I'm going to move the square down a little bit. If that's black, let's go up to let's go up to like a darker gray. Say OK, G, fill in the square. Do select all, copy, paste. Where did that square go? Gotta find the square. There's a better way of doing this, but anyway, I'm trying to do it this way. Usually do duplicate layer. Duplicate layer is a better way of doing it. Okay. So we have black and gray. This square needs to be a lighter gray up here. And then we'll have white. So the 2 tones are gray and black and white. Alright. Now, finally white. So it's layer, duplicate layer. Say OK. Press V. Hold shift. Move the square down. And now this should be white. Fill that in. Okay, so you. And then let's just merge those layers together. This is our palette layer. Name it palette. And if you can't see it, we'll do layer effects, stroke, turn it to white. Or we could turn it to a red or something. Okay. Slightly red. Gray, yeah, that gray is fine there. Do more blue. I like the blue. Okay. So there's our colors. And finally, we'll get to drawing something. Kind of. I don't know if anyone has any questions. No? Okay. So, I'll run through it one more time if you just join the chat. We go to this website called Wiki Paintings. We're doing the composition breakdowns, except we're not going to use movie stills. You go to wikipaintings.org. The home page is different each time you load it. Except for now, which for some reason is doing the same thing. But you go to artists, and you can select by alphabet, art movement, school or group, genre, nationality, or century, or how popular they are. I went to nationality, and I selected several countries that I wanted to look through. When you do select a country, if I select Finnish, and click on this first guy here, he has the artwork broken up by style, Romanticism, Impressionism, Symbolism, Expressionism, and Art Nouveau. pick whatever you want. Or you can go up here and look at the featured artwork. Select something. And then you gotta click on artwork page. When you go to artwork page, you can copy from there. Right click, copy image. I gathered up a bunch of these, and now I'm gonna start doing the breakdowns. Ugh. Okay. Now it's just like before, except we're going to use 4 colors instead of 3 colors. Go onto the layer with all the different shapes. Since we do have the mask layer set up, I'll be able to draw outside the box and it won't make any marks. But if I go into the other frame, it will. So try not to go into the other frame. Try to have some kind of control. So right now, it looks like I've got a black shape here. Oops, it's the wrong layer. Keep off the palette layer. Let me lock that layer. And I'll lock the painting layer. That way I can't really activate those. Okay, so on the actual layer itself for the work. Got the big black shape in the background. It's like the building. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just go in and color it in rudimentarily. Okay. We've got this darker gray for the ground. Try and keep your brush a little bigger too. We'll color over this. Whatever bleeds into the bottom we'll color over. Lighter gray for the sky. And try and limit your colors. Try and limit it to like 3 or 4 colors. Try not to use the gray scale. Just use a selection of gray and black and white. Because that'll help you make choices about how the picture is featured. So now there's this area here that's lighter in the picture. So I'm going to color that in with the lighter gray. Because it looks lighter than the ground, right? It sticks off. It might be the same because it's on the dark, but I'm just going to call it the lighter gray. And just like a square. By introducing this this other gray tone, I can more accurately depict what's going on. Now there's these two characters here. 1, 2. There's 1, 2 in the foreground. 1, 2 in the foreground. So got 1, 2, and the characters themselves are going to be white. All the heads. This guy is back here. Let's look at another face, another person. Over here there's a guy shirtless, leaning out. It doesn't need to look pretty. We just want the shapes. Another dude here, just bending over. This guy is obscuring someone in the back. This guy is facing the opposite way. What's that?
Remember that Australian guy, that Oliver?
Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah. This guy's sitting here. This guy standing here. And he can have, I feel like his pants are gonna be like gray. And then some of these guys need their legs, so like this guy's legs, this guy's legs, this guy's legs, this guy's legs. Oops. This person's legs. And then there's some, if you look at the sky is lighter than the buildings, so we actually got to come in here and just kind of cut in where the buildings are. So we've got this going on, a bunch of little things, right? And particularly, there's that technique that we call counter change. Or it's not just we, it's like what the art world as a whole calls counter change. And it really happens in this piece. So basically, their legs are darker when the ground is lighter. And as the scene transitions to this dark background, we see that lots of the men are featured with either this red or shirtless, and they're pretty pale compared to the background, so they stand out against their background, and their legs stand out against their background. Depending on their background, they stand out against whatever color it is that's behind them. And this guy, see this guy here, who's, let me use that. This guy that's off to the side, his pants are lighter, and he happens to be the only character that's standing completely against the black background. So because of that, his pants are going to be lighter than every other character, because he doesn't have the street to showcase the silhouette of his legs. But this guy here is specifically broken up by his dark legs on the lighter ground, and then it gets into a lighter palette with his arm and his head. Right. Now there's another thing going on that we looked at before. Same thing that happened with the movie still, where all the featured characters are on the same plane, and they kind of divide our canvas up into thirds. Roughly thirds, right? So give or take a little few inches here. And one thing we do notice is there's a few characters that have their heads featured within the center third, and the rest of the characters are going to be standing. So if we're reading this from left to right, we're going to kind of notice that every so often there's an interesting character that's going to create kind of a rhythm of like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? Because no matter what else is going on in the picture, you kind of focus on the guys in the center. Like you don't follow this and say, oh, smokestacks, building. You don't say, dirt, 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 dirt. Right? What else do we have here? Trying to pick apart certain things here. You kind of have a similar rhythm going on with the repetitiveness. I get a better brush than that. The repetitiveness of the smokestacks along with the verticals of the people themselves. It's a similar rhythm. They're echoing each other. If this was poetry, these words would be rhyming words. You understand how that works? So like whenever people say there's rhythm, or if they say that there's an echo in a painting, it's like when a poem has rhyming words. These things are so similar. They're not the same thing, but they have a similar feel. Something else is going on. Let's see here. If I divide that. I feel like, where is it? Where's my square? Here we go. Yeah, I forgot what this is called. What is this called? This is called it's a type of composition where you put an object. It's a compositional tool. You put an object. If you have a rectangular composition, you put an object right at the point where it makes a square, and then it kind of divides your canvas up. And that is occurring right now with this shape back here, this little chimney stack thing, whatever this is. I gotta zoom in closer to really see. I don't know what it is, but so where the chimney stack is, it's where the canvas is square, right? When I cut the square out, the square stops here, right on chimney stack, right? So you got this square, and then this chimney stack kind of makes that marker for you. Let me see if that works the other way. Bless you.
Thank you.
It doesn't really work the other way. Not exactly the way it does on this side. In a way it works. In a way, this chimney and this man who's... I'd almost want to say he's one of the most interesting figures here. If I look at this, he's doing something. He's doing something that all the other characters aren't doing, except for this guy here. He's, let me erase some of this real quick. So when I look through this painting, I kind of come back to this guy. And I think the one reason is the posture. His arm is facing the opposite way. And this guy is looking this way, this guy is that way, this guy is that way. This guy is looking that way towards this character. This character is looking at us. This guy's got his arm that way, but I feel like he's the most interesting. I feel like he's supposed to be the focus. Need to see a higher res image to figure that out for sure, but anyway. So this is how the composition breakdown works. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to sit down and kind of like analyze it, figure out exactly what's going on. We're not just going to rush through them. We did that with the movie stills, but in this case we're going to really think about it a little longer. Because these paintings, excuse me, took a long time to make. They're supposed to represent a scene and a story in one image, so there's a lot of stuff going on within each image. And the proper way to really do this would be to read about the creation of the painting and figure out what exactly the artist was doing. And that would take a little longer, and it would just verge on art history lessons. But let's go on to the next one real quick. I'll take that darker gray. I'm just going to block out this shape here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the background image right now. Take the lighter gray, block out that shape. Okay. So already we got something going on here. Let me go over here and let's talk about this real quick before we even continue. This, if I'm right, is a third. Just about a third. It's just at the third, almost, right? It's so close to the third, it might as well be the third. Okay. So we all know that from the rule of thirds, like the big one everyone talks about in terms of composition. It's almost. Let me see if this is. Gotta evenly divide these better. Just a little closer right there. Okay. Okay, so you kind of see how this is already framing out. The faces are on the top third. The hands are on the kind of the median of these 2/3. And then this character goes in between. She starts in the center third and her body kind of points down. There's actually this arrow that's created by her cleavage in her chest, points down to this other intersection. And there's this man here. I feel like this man serves as a hopping point. So you go face, hop, face. It's like a lily, oops. It's like a lily pad in a pond for a frog. If you try to jump on a lily pad, you just destroy it. Okay, so let's continue that. So we use black for this woman here on the side. And just kind of generally block it out. You don't need it to be perfect. Her face will be white because her face stands out. And her hat will be light gray. And then there's going to be the man in the background who kind of stands out because his hat and his clothing are darker. We'll make his face light gray also. We're not going to make it white. Because compared to her face next to him, she's going to be like majority white. So we'll go through, block her out in white. Doesn't matter if you're off or not. We're just analyzing what's going on. So it's a little off. I'm going to take the light gray too, and I'm going to block out her dress, because her dress and her skin are doing different things in terms of the value. Maybe it's just the hue, actually. I think they might be the same value, just the hue's different. But in this case, we're only working in black and white. And then we'll take the dark gray. Actually, we'll take the black. We'll take the black and we'll block in this other woman here. And what you see is that her arm disappeared into the background, but it's going to come back out because it's against this woman in the darker dress. That's just how it works, right? Like, she would be lost against this lighter background if it weren't for this woman here. And the woman's face isn't even like, she only serves as like a way to make this woman stand out because her face isn't even shown. It's like cut off like this, like it's like a compositional tool, just put in a person just for the sake of having someone there. And then another thing too, these lanterns in the background. One lantern's like right here, and this, can't really see the other lantern. Other lantern's here. I feel like those are important. I feel like those are important because they kind of match this guy in the background. They serve as like a bouncing off point that leads your eye. Whenever you have repetitive shapes in a row, it creates a line. And when it creates that line, you get oh, she's got a big hat on too. Her hair is like up. Word of death.
Cheese for Turt's gonna be in it. That's why she invited us to like it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so whoops, what was I saying? Whenever you have objects in a row in a sequence, they create a line visually. So even though there's not actually a line, that flower is white, so the flower kind of stands out. And actually in the painting, if you notice that this is a mirror, and it's either a mirror or a window, and it's inside that mirror and or window, there's some kind of lights going on outside. And those create a shape that happen to point down to that guy's head. And there's another recurring shape right here. Oh, and then her hands. So this woman's hands right here. Her hands here. There's a hand here. The other hand's off to the side. So I have a friend named Carlton who told me, and you might have heard this already, when you're working with figures, areas of interest, you have like 3 areas of interest for every person. The head and 2 hands. It's just how it works. People, your eyes go to hands and your eyes go to faces. So whenever you have hands, it creates area of interest. Whenever you have faces, it creates area of interest. And let me see what else here. I feel like it's pretty close. The other thing that's going on in the background is that there's a line. See, like that golden frame, that golden edge. It kind of cuts through. That frame, let's see, that's her hat. So like all this framing back here, like that. Let me just get into new layer. This line, this frame, it serves as like a device to kind of lead your eye between the faces. So the bottom of the frame leads you across these faces. The blue itself a flower in her hair here. The flower in her hair kind of like turns into these lights in the background that lead you to this guy's head. And then from here you can bounce off to hers. And she and him, he and she and him, both of them are looking at the woman in the center. And on this bottom third, the hands are in a line. The heads are up here near this top third, and then the background's actually divided amongst the thirds itself, like right here and here. It's a little off. I guess the real third would be like here. That's like the real third. So it's almost on the third. It's pretty much divided in the third. And then this man in the background, his face is on the other third. So the background elements are divided into thirds. 1, 2, 3, and then the foreground elements are divided along the thirds. With one woman, another woman, another woman. And then horizontally, the thirds have face, chest and shoulders, and right here, the cleavage and the chest of this woman right here, the difference in the color draws your eye in on the center third. And then all the hands on the bottom third. That's a little higher right there. It's a little off, but you kind of see how I'm talking generally too, not like exact mathematical thirds, but like visually, kind of what's going on. Just looking here, and then like there's a head, and then okay, so the language. Let me erase all that. The language here. So it's a head, lantern, head, flower. I think this is a flower in her hair, and then it's lights, head, lights, head. So there's another rhythm we've got going on, a visual rhythm. I think that's her. So here's the thing. That's either a flower in her hair, or I think it might actually be. I think it's a flower behind her, and then this is a mirror, and it's like repeating the image of the flower or something. It's hard to tell. I feel like it's a vase, like a flower in a vase, because they're like inside the Moulin Rouge, I guess. Or it's a window, and those are street lights outside. Either way, the shapes still serve the same function, which are head, light, head, shape, head, shape, head. Okay? So it is another visual rhythm, a visual motif, a rhythm. It's literally even kind of like dun 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 dun. You can kind of like tap it out even if you just look at it. And the same thing here. Hand facing this way, hand facing the down, hand facing this way, this hand's cut off. But it's like, he could have drawn the hands either way. Naturally they're walking and holding the arms together, but because he was the painter and illustrator, he did it a certain way. And in this case, hands. So you see how that's back and forth. It's a bunch of echoing shapes. Here's the arm, and the shoulder and the arm's almost exactly the same on this woman here and this woman. So this foreground woman with the black is that same arm shape, the same kind of dress shape. Part of it's the fashion of the times, but just because of the way it's repetitive like that. Lots of these repetitious motifs, because this is one image telling one story instead of actual film, what you can do is you can follow what's going on with the figures, right? Let's erase all this real quick. So technically, the sense is that the people entering the Moulin Rouge, right? So like, or they're inside this building, they're all holding arm in arm. So they probably just arrived. You got kind of a sense of movement where it's like a woman's walking in. Oh, let's do it this way. Look at it like a timeline. So a woman comes in, looks this way. She continues walking to look inside, see what's going on inside. She looks back. And think of this as one person. One person moving through time. So like, it's like, hello, how you doing? Looks forward, who's here? Looks back again to scope out and think of it just as one person going through. Even though it's three people. We know it's three people, but this kind of tells you the story of what it's like to arrive with your friends at this place, right? You come in, kind of look around, see who's here, look into the main area, see who's sitting down, enjoying a drink, look back, see if maybe you recognize somebody. Okay? You see how it works out? Just think of it as one person coming in, turning their head. So you've got like this, like a motion, like a film strip. Oops, not film strip. Film strip movement. Wrong one. Walk cycle. Like a walk cycle. Here we go. Exactly like this. You can look at it like one person. One person repeated, right? Like a walk cycle. Right? Whenever you have that same kind of thing going on. Because it's one image, you try to convey the sense of motion and feeling within one image. So it's like person, person, person. They kind of represent the same person, but they're also different people. Anyway. Okay, let's move on. That's a good chunk of time on that one. But I think y'all understand. I mean, y'all understand what I'm pulling from it, so that's kind of the deal. That's what I'm pulling from it. Those are all the different little things I'm reading from this that I think are important. It's just a lot more than, like, if someone were to look at this picture and say, it's a picture with three people in it and there's a guy in the background. Like, in art school. Okay, this is a great example. In art school, we had art history class. And we'd sit in the lecture hall, and the professor would pull up an image, and she would just say, let's talk about this image. And then she wouldn't say anything, and she would wait for people to start saying things. Anything. Anything at all. Like, what about the image do you notice? And most of the people in the class had never done that before, right? Like, you never actually broke down the image. And people would say things like, there's a woman, red hair. You go, okay, a woman with red hair. Great. So let's highlight that real quick. Woman with red hair. Okay, she's holding arm in arm with other women. Okay. Three women with red hair and a guy in the background with a hat. Okay. And they mentioned they're in some kind of building. They're inside. Alright, they're inside. That's it. Like, people would just, you start looking at the arbitrary things. Like, yeah, it's a woman with two other people and there's a guy in the background. But, like, it's not important. Like, that part's not the important part. It's not just three women with a guy in the background. Like, someone didn't just spend time painting three women with a guy in the background. It's supposed to be invoking the feeling of, the piece was titled something about, like, entering the Moulin Rouge, or the arrival at the Moulin Rouge. Because the whole point is that you got to invoke that feeling for being there. So to just draw three people, like, the artist could have done anything, but it's not just three people. It's telling you multiple interesting things at once. The other things you would notice would be the top third contains all the faces. This middle third contains her chest and cleavage, which is a focal point it is. And then the bottom third has the hands in sequence. And there's a similar rhythm going on with the hands, with the face, with the background lanterns. I mean, those are all the things you would throw into there, and you'd keep talking about how that was, each state represents one person in motion, but also it's, there's also this individual story of these figures. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. This will be the last one for today. This will be gray, gray, white, black. So we'll do a dark gray first. Dark gray, light gray, and white for the woman. In this case, she's going to put right here. She's the lightest part. And her dress just kind of goes down here. Okay. And black. So the black, her hair, eyes, terrifying black eyes, the shadow. There's an area of dark right here, and we'll count that red with the dark color. That becomes black in this breakdown. And actually this gray creeps down. Whatever she's sitting on, it's like a couch or a sofa or something. It's probably not actually a couch. Her hand is over here. This hand is light gray because it's on top of the dress and it's darker. And it's holding a fan. It's holding a fan. Okay. There's a lot going on in the background of the wallpaper. It looks like it's two oriental dragons. One has its head behind her. The other one's over here, above the shadow. Okay. And there's a little bit of this showing here, at the bottom of the couch. Okay. So let's just kind of go in here and talk about this a little bit. Let's divide up this canvas. There we go. The thirds always kind of work. So like whether or not there's other compositional tools being used, the thirds are always part of it. I think that's the one thing I've learned the most over these breakdowns. The most I've learned is that these thirds are, like, the rule of thirds seems to apply with all of them, but also another compositional tool is used. So there's two things. It's not just one or the other. I think that's the big takeaway from these. It's not about using just one rule and saying, oh, I use rule of thirds. It's about using rule of thirds and golden rule or golden spiral. Like one way or another, it's not just one. So let's try it. If I take my crop tool and I have it set to golden spiral, it should, I feel like it's going to show us something. Right. Okay. So see how the spiral's curling in? It lands on the shadow. Spiral curls in, lands on the shadow. We could do that the opposite way too. We could, I guess from this side. If the spiral curled in from this corner, up and around, it would land right here, right around her face. There's not other elements, like this isn't exactly correct because there's not like other elements kind of hinting at a spiral, focusing everything to the face. But this point can be flipped to the side if you wanted to, and you can kind of see that her face is kind of lining up there. Let's see what else. Golden ratio. Golden ratio is kind of like the rule of thirds. It's a little different. Golden ratio is pretty close in terms of where this hand falls in her shoulder line. Shoulders line up with the hand. And then her eye. Yeah, and then the golden ratio is pretty, got some stuff going on too. Let me zoom in just a little bit in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. The golden ratio are the little thin lines, and then the pink lines are the rule of thirds. When I use the golden ratio, we have her hand and her shoulders, and they kind of meet here near this pendant, and the pendant lines up with her left eye. See how that works? It only happens on the golden ratio. Let me see. Let me try this triangle. This triangular composition. This kind of works too. It's kind of, see how it all kind of falls in the same general area. Within this triangular composition, there's a point of interest here that kind of interlocks with her nose to her ear, keeps her eye on this top. This top triangle contains her eyes. This median of this triangular composition lines up with her pendant. I might be using this wrong, but I'm just noticing things. This shape of her leg, the knee shape that's created with all these ruffles, that's all within this bottom triangle. Diagonals. I don't really know how the diagonals work exactly, but I'm imagining it's all the same where you have your focal points. Grid. See, the grid thing, I'm really not sure how the grid works. I had someone explain it to me. They say it works more with landscape. It's better with landscaping or something. I don't know. I don't know about that. I just don't know how to do it. That's all. Rule of thirds. Okay, this rule of thirds is more accurate than mine, so you can kind of see. This hand, same median as the corner of the eye. Okay. Let's go back to, just keep it in rule of thirds for now. Don't crop. Okay, so anyway, besides the compositional, like the guides hitting certain points of the picture, let's turn off this layer and turn off that layer. There's a value shift that's going on. Actually, I could delete this one. The value shift so we have, I'll do this in blue. Dark shape, dark shape, and then her dress is the light shape. We have the subtle counter change going on. It's the dark shapes. That's all the dark shape. And her hair. And we do another layer. I'll make this look really obnoxious. This orange. So the light shape. And then we've got like this mid-tone. So this is almost even just 3 colors, really. Oh, this shape's same as her dress. That color, sorry, not the shape, the color. Or the value. The value is the same. Okay, then we got this shape here, which is like, this is the big block of, we call this one the gray, right? Because it's just the gray that's behind there. So, where the light and dark, the bottom portion is a mixture of light and dark, and then the top portion is mostly gray, but we're drawn to the face because the area of high contrast, which is represented by this blue and orange, the area of high contrast is surrounded by a low contrast. Okay? So this bottom portion we can call it busy. We call it busy because it's kind of got a high contrast going on, where there's a white dress on a darker background. The wrinkles and all the ruffles in the dress are very much realistically placed in with shadow and light, and it creates for an interesting, you can kind of keep your eyes down on the dress for a while because of what's going on with the ruffles and like the different details. And then this is the hand with the fan is actually kind of a gray, but we call this, it's the counter change, right? The gray stands out on the white because the gray stands on the white because it's surrounded by white. But if you were to like go in here, let me merge those layers. If you were to go in here and pick out the value of the hand, it's not going to be too different from the value of the actual background here. Maybe a little different. Let me see. Okay, vastly different. I was wrong in that case. And not perfect. I guess it just looks more gray. Maybe that's the thing. It's actually pretty light. It's pretty light. But also note that this white dress never goes into white. It's never pure white. See that? Not pure white, not anywhere here in the dress. I'm trying to find the hottest spots. There's no white. And the black. It's never pure black. Gets close. But we don't have pure black, we don't have pure white. Quick nod to anyone I've ever given a critique to, because that's like the big thing I always talk about. Just that, you don't use pure black, you don't use pure white. It gets pretty close. Like, I think the closest it gets to the pure black is up here on the hair, which is fine because that's the focal point. It's okay for it to almost dip to pure black because you want to look at her face. Likewise, the skin tone right here, it's pretty close to white. In fact, it's interesting that we're drawn to the face, even though the dress is lighter than the face, we're still drawn to the face because it's surrounded by this gray tone. The gray tone is actually a lot darker than it looks. If you notice on the color picker, you see where the values are sticking. It's down there by the 70% gray. Her hand's peeking out there. That's all I can pick out for this right now. I feel like there's more going on to it. There's more that I'm not noticing, but I want to go ahead and call that. I'm going to call this done for today. In terms of our breakdowns and what we're talking about, we'll continue on with these on a later date, not tomorrow, because tomorrow is a still life. Let me open this up and try and find out what's going on. Daily lessons, and I'll share this in the chat if you're watching. But if you're trying to find this document, it's going to be in the Crimson Daggers forum. It'll be in the Crimson Daggers forum. There you go. Anyone that's in the chat can click on it and go to that. It's in the Crimson Daggers forum under the thread Daily Study Group, which can be found under the Partner Group Dailies, Daily Study Group. Typically, we're the one at the top, if not the second one, depending on who's been posting. But it's a daily thing, so there should be someone posting every day. In fact, I need to go back and post a bunch of stuff. I'm behind. We're on comp breakdowns, Tuesday. Tomorrow's a still life. So find a piece of fruit or whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be a cup or it could be anything. But tomorrow get a still life set up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That's when we're going to do this. And tomorrow I'm probably just going to have music only playing on the still life days. So that means still life days, I'm just going to have music playing. Okay? That's just easier for me. I can focus more, and it's kind of hard to talk about the still life because it's all kind of the same stuff. It's just going to be me saying, oh, I noticed this. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm going to add this in now. And if you really want to hear me talk like that, there's older versions of that you can listen to. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you picked up some good information. At least go to this website, wikipaintings.org, because it's a nice website to go use. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm going to put some music on, and I'm going to sign off for today. So, thanks again.